sound speeds, and welcome to another informative reaction video. I had to add the word informative over there because people have been telling me that they're learning a lot, so I could have said educational. I went with informative. So let's waste no more time and get right into our video. This video is called How to Set Up an Overhead Boom Mic. It was released on May 10th, 2019 on the Marcos Rocha YouTube channel, which has 51.3 thousand subscribers. As of the time of this video, it has 98,404 views and has 1.9 thousand upvotes. So let's waste no more time and get right into it.
Hey, what's up? This is Marcos. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to set up an overhead boom mic. Now, the nice things about boom
Quick
mics,
intro, I like it.
Directional, so they do a
yes
job of canceling out ambient sound. Now, for interviews, this is great because you usually
they don't really cancel it out. What it does is points away from it in a less sensitive area. Is facing the noise. It's called the null area of a microphone. You point that area at the place with the loudest noise that you don't care anything about. Signal to noise ratio. Signal is the sound you care about. The noise is the sound you don't care about. Point a microphone at the place that you want to get the signal, the best optimal signal on, and cue the microphone away from the noise that you don't want to have in the pattern.
Interviews in when you're out and about in the field and you don't really have control over the environment. So there's often, you might be in a restaurant or maybe a business location.
Yep, just play the pattern. That's the long and the short.
I also use them for my YouTube videos.
That's good.
I always have something set up over here.
Good, overhead.
But the question is, how do you set it up right? You know, it's very...
This is what we're here for, is we want to see how to set this microphone up correctly. We're about, what, a minute into the video? 45 seconds in. So let's see what he says.
Expensive solutions, which are not ideal. So today I'm going to teach you how to set it up right. And I'm going to go over the equipment I use.
All right. It looks like he has a boom pole that was formerly a monopod. He's got... all right, it looks like he has the remote audio clamp there. I mean, you can get the ones that have a screw thread in there from fishing places, but then the welds are not usually nearly as strong. A little shock mount there, a Gobo RMC stand, and there's your microphone. So there's tie wraps and stuff like that.
There'll be
all right,
timestamp in the description. That way you can
sandbags
set up. All right. Otherwise, let's just quickly run over this.
Yep.
This is a light stand. I would instead suggest that you buy a proper C-stand. Those are more expensive.
Yeah, this is more...
the money, you can always use the light stand. This is by Newer, it's metal.
Yeah, and those do work. C-stands are fine too.
Just that you don't buy the 5-foot or the 6-foot ones. Buy something that you can extend it up to 8 or 9 feet. That way, if you ever...
Yeah, it depends, though. I mean, if you're routinely only doing videos where somebody is about 4 or so feet away, you don't really need to have all that length because people are only about 2 feet wide. And so if all you ever do is sit down interviews, collapsing the pole down to this length as opposed to this length is going to really matter. So having one that goes up to 8 or 10 feet, if you never do interviews on the go and there's always someone sitting down, you may not need that extra length.
A super wide shot of an interview. You have the ability to extend this out and the light stand is not going to be in the shot. So this is made by, is it LYX, is a company, Lix?
Lix.
I don't know how you say it.
Lix.
It's cost me,
the Lynx Pro. I did one of their videos. Is that the boom pole that I reviewed of theirs?
Too heavy.
The Lynx Pro?
Proper XLR cable. I would get probably like a 12 or 15 footer one in case you need to run it all the way to your camera. This is a 6-foot one.
Okay, that would be if that's the cable he's mounting on his boom pole, you need to have about 1 foot or so up there for strain relief onto the end of the boom pole. Then whatever the length of the boom pole is, you need to like have 9 feet, for example, of a boom pole. And then you need 9 feet of cable after that. So by the time you add that extra foot, you're talking about a 10-foot cable. And then that just gets you to the end of it if it's all the way extended. From there, you got to go down to something. If it's down to a belt pack or a pocket recorder on your belt, then you could very easily get away with a cable that's only about, 14 feet, if that, maybe 15 feet, if you want to give yourself a little bit of extra room. But if you're trying to go to a camera, you might need to get yourself a 25-footer based on by the time it leaves the boom pole, if it's mounted up high, goes down to the ground, goes over, and comes back up. You don't want to have it clothesline across something.
Which is fine. Also made by the same company, not sponsored, just a coincidence.
So Lynx Pro?
Boom pole holder. A grip head.
No information about that. The boom pole holder, as he worded. Now, you can get that from Bass Pro Shop and other places. We used to call it Bass Pro Audio back in the day because you get a lot of little accessories from there that we could use in the world of pro sound until they started making actual devices that are now specifically made for pro sound people. So that is one of those fishing rod holders, but that one actually, because it doesn't have screw threads in there, that is actually a boom pole holder. Don't know about the brand, but just got to be careful with those. If it's an off brand, the welds on the inside may break and rust kind of easily because it's underneath a rubber coating. You can't really always see it. So you never can tell and fully trust those. You might want to get yourself a good brand one.
You need something that where you can mount the boom mic itself. This is the Azden SGM1X. This connects here and this connects to the boom pole. All right. So, last thing. You
need a sandbag for the stand.
Sandbag, yep. Because if you're going to be extending the boom pole pretty far, you don't want the light stand to tip over. So put a sandbag.
Yep, sandbag will help.
The light stand. This actually.
You can also hang a bag or something like that. If you have a book bag with you, load that up with a whole bunch of snacks from Craft Services. And once you get a nice, good, hearty size of snacks inside your bag, then it's got enough weight to it to hold in a stand. Pro tip.
Weights for legs. You strap them on and it's supposed to make your legs stronger. This was my brother's and I just took it and repurposed it.
That's good. I actually have similar things like that I use for something.
Anyways,
totally separate. I'll do a video about it at some point in the future.
Again.
When I want to make a manufacturer mad, I'll make that video.
So here's our light stand.
So he's wearing a lav mic. You can hear the wind on his
so if the boom
lav
is going this way, you want to make sure that this leg is also going this way.
Exactly right.
Less of a chance that'll.
That's exactly right. You're leading your tallest, your highest leg. If it's a C stand, you have a low leg, a middle leg, and a high stand. That high stand, the one that extends out the farthest, you want to make sure that points it directly at the person. You could also do what's called backloading it, which is where if you turn it around exactly the opposite direction, then put a stand on there. Normally you don't do that because then at that point, the three little legs that are basically pointed that direction, if one person's facing this way, it's going to fall more towards it. That's correct. If you do it this way where it's falling, it's easy to fall over those two things towards someone. So it's better to put that the big leg facing towards talent.
Okay.
He's exactly right on that.
Up a little bit. First thing is our grip head.
She's very tolerant.
Description to everything that I'm mentioning here. Let's see. There it is. And then our boom pole holder goes vertical like this.
Yes. Are you going to mention?
Actually, it goes like this.
Okay. Okay. You're going to mention the thing about, all right, here's the thing about a C-stand. You got to be careful with the way you put something mounted on a C-stand, because if something is on the wrong side, here's what you do. There's one side that when you lock it in place and you basically have the knuckle on the right-hand side and it's facing outwards, if the weight is on that, it's going to press down and tighten as it goes out when it's held by a C-stand. It's going to tighten if it falls. If you turn around the exact opposite direction, it's going to loosen as it falls. So if it actually does sink a little bit, it's going to be loosening and it will sink more and more and more to the point where the whole stand falls over. So you want to lock it in place with the knuckle on the right-hand side, extended out. That way it's going to lock itself and tighten as it falls, if it falls at all. I hope he says that.
Let's connect this first.
The way he has it oriented right now is correct.
3/8. All these parts are very...
Now, all right, let's just pause right here. You see how this is? If this were horizontal, so it would be extended this way, if the weight of the boom pole is going to push downwards, that means it's going to lock the more, because this basically screws into place and it locks like this. This little stick right here that's going upwards, if that were angled this direction and the weight of a boom pole is pressing downwards, this entire weight is going to be locking into the screw thread. You see that? It's going to be tightening as it falls. But if this were on this side of the knuckle instead, it could still seem like it's on the exact same place, but as opposed to being on the left-hand side of the knuckle where it's going to tighten as it goes, if it were on this side here, you have to be careful, because if it was on this side here and then you tighten it in position, it's got to like if the boom pole were facing this direction, for example, it was tightening over here, then you want to make sure that it doesn't actually fall and loosen, because see how this loosens this way, it would be pushing it down as if it were trying to get that screw going. So you have to be very careful with it on this side versus over here where it's looping out this direction.
Inexpensive. Bring in our boom pole and then the mic. Goes through the rubber bands.
Got little inserts. She's a very tolerant person to be his talent like that.
Like that.
I would be very starting to stir. Bring me in at the last second when you need me. But she's being very tolerant.
I guess the angle we need it to be at. Then we bring in the XLR.
Be careful with overly wobbly shock mounts like that because it could very easily bottom out and create noise. See how this is angling quite a bit? The top part of it's up here, the bottom part's down here. It's basically it's going like this at an angle. It's like, if it goes too much, it's going to very easily start to bottom out and hit the side. So you got to be careful of that.
Cables, or as you see now, I'm going to grip it to the boom pole. Now, we don't have much space to work with here, but you would probably extend this all the way out.
Okay, you want it when you extend it out, extend the small section first, not just for weight, but because if you need to extend it out again, then you need you always want to be able to extend it out from closest to you. You don't want to have to go to the end to extend this out. So extend out the smallest section and keep all the weight or as much of it as possible in your hands.
I'm just gonna do.
You're front weighting it like crazy right now.
Much. There, I think that would be good.
Yeah, just be careful.
Oh, we want the other end.
I really want to see what he does there. Okay, so he extends it in, it puts it in there. So,
and now
it's a lot of weight. Please tie it off. Tie it off. Tie it off.
I grab one of these ties.
Yep. And please don't put it there. Put it right here instead.
Here, I'll give it some slack.
Okay, the problem with doing it there is because it's in front of the knuckles. If you start to extend this out again right now, you're going to have to take off the tie, extend it out, and then put the tie back on there. If you were to take this and, first of all, it wouldn't be an issue if he extended out the correct knuckle. Then he could put it anywhere he wants to. But in this configuration, he would really need to tie this around to like right here, someplace in here above this knuckle. That way it's not going to be something that he would have to redo.
Now just tie in the cable to the boom pole.
Yeah, just got to be careful, man.
That way it stays in place and doesn't play too much, doesn't try to pull this too much.
There's not much room at all in that shock mount.
All across the boom pole, the length, just to keep the...
You can also add yourself a little bit of a slight twist in it, a little bit of a corkscrew around the boom pole. That's going to prevent it from potentially slapping. So if you move it like that, there's no real slack in there at all. But if you could just loop it around one time, that's going to be better.
On the leg, you don't want this thing
tipping
over your subject.
All right, you got to be careful when you put a C-stand on that way. See how most of the weight right here is on the ground? Now, you could argue that doing this, what happens if it starts to get overwhelmed with weight on the front side? It could fall forward, and then if it did end up kicking up, then this whole thing would flop over. The biggest thing you got to be thinking about is you want the weight on there. Right now, the weight is on the ground. So take this whole thing, and there's usually on the bottom of a stand, there's a little loop right around here, or the screw rather, that you could use to tighten up the legs in position. Don't be afraid to throw a sandbag over that or over the leg and just kind of use it. I've even taken these and extended it over right here, where you loop the sandbag over there. And this little part right here will kind of hold it on there. So your sandbag can actually fit right there without worrying about slipping down.
On the leg, you don't want this thing tipping over your subject, all right?
Yeah.
And now we just need to position it.
Yep. And are you going to have to extend it out more?
Here is to point the boom mic coming directly towards the mouth.
Yeah.
You want it to be pointing towards the forehead, the eyes, or down here.
It depends if you're playing the pattern. It depends on what you're doing there. The pattern is what matters. The pickup area of sensitivity on that microphone, you might end up having to play it because you're not in the quietest environments, and you might have to play the pattern away from something. It's just not something that you just automatically get into the habit of putting the microphone in one place because you might need to do something for a particular reason otherwise.
You want it in this general area right here. I would say towards the chin. That way you get the clearest audio from your subject. And that's pretty much it, just run the camera if your camera can accept.
See, his tie right there is already loose right there. So if you move this around or something like that, it could also slap against the side of the boom. So you got to be careful using loose ties like that.
I hook it up to my camera. That way you can accept XLR input, or you can use an external audio recorder. I do that sometimes. So that's pretty much the setup. Pretty simple. It doesn't, take much work. It's great to set it up whenever you do interviews. You're just gonna get cleaner sound.
See how this thread automatically wants to tighten? There's this side here and there's this side here to the stand. If you put it on this side or on this side, as long as it's on the same side as that knuckle, and it's going to fall with the weight going this direction. It doesn't matter if it's on the front side or the back side. It's going to go just fine. But if it is extended out that direction, that's when it's going to loosen as it falls. Just be aware of that.
Whenever you're going to have the subject sitting in one place, they're not going to move around.
Okay, actually go back for 1 second. As soon as you start to extend, boom, right there. See this loop right there? I would actually, that little link right there is where I would hang this bag off of. I would put it right there and make sure that it was extended out over this leg on this side. You can wrap it around the center there, but if nothing else, I would throw it over this leg and make sure that a little bit of it was covering right there. As long as that weight is holding it down, it should be in good shape.
Sitting.
If I didn't just put it right over here over this part of the arm, of the leg, and then have it sit there.
In one place, they're not going to move it around. If you need more flexibility, of course, you can use a lab like I am right now. Actually, I'm using this one from Ceramonic. This is a UW Mic 9, which is, actually, I just did a review if you want to check it out. Lab mics are great because you can move around, you can still get sound, but when you're having sit-down interviews, always try to use a boom mic whenever possible.
Yeah, it's going to sound better. Yeah. Right? So yeah, very simple video. He accomplished what he was trying to do. The only thing is that I would try to make sure that I were to say things that would be more generic towards any and all boom poles, any and all shock mounts, any and all cables. Any particular recommendations for a tie or a cable or something like that, I would make sure that I mentioned that. But yeah, the video was just fine. And what in the world am I going to say to someone that has 3 times my subscribers and does videos about how to set up a boom pole? So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Sound Speeds. Be sure to tune in the future for more reaction videos, more whatever we happen to do, and as always, sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.